Hey, what's up, everybody? Frederick Polk here. So I think it's important we put into context what's going on today in the American financial market. Now, the schadenfreude that's going to be going around, it's piping hot, is old DJT backed off on those 90-day tariffs. Yeah, I'm not here for that. I could give two shits about MAGA stupidity or MAGA tears or any of that. I could care less about the us versus them. I don't really want to have to line up against MAGA. I wish they'd get out of the propaganda bubble and see things for what they really are. Because there ain't much to celebrate about today. Oh yeah, I'm glad that people that have their 401ks got a reprieve. But my fear is it's not going to last. I'll tell you why. So the thing before Trump's little stupid Truth Social announcement where he basically reversed course after holding up his little, play school set tariff board, where he got to pretend to be a big boy about the economy in less than a week, was the fluctuations that are happening in the Treasury bond market and the yield market, which specifically have to do with U.S. debt in mortgages, credit card debt, and auto loans, which are already starting to default. And so one of the concerns might be is that there's talk of China and Japan and other foreign countries that are thinking about dumping this debt. And part of that is the uncertainty in the American market. And if this move did anything today, besides what CNBC is going to say was the single biggest increase in 5 years in the Dow in one day, which is easy to do when you artificially short it over less than a week. What other countries are going to take away from this is the United States is no longer a stable and safe financial market. That we are moving into junk bond status. We're high risk, maybe high reward, but definitely high risk. Because nobody knows what Trump's going to do, basically from day to day at this point. There's no consistency there. And in fact, the last time you kind of saw this wild swings in volatility was just before the '08 crash. So these other countries that have decided to go in another direction, like Germany, like France, and the EU, and the UK, and Canada, and China, who's going to get 125% tariff slapped on them, which China's just going to look at that and go, cool, no problem. This is not a good sign. Not from the President of the United States. Not from a once stable economy. If you look at the moves financially that Germany's making, it looks like to me and to others that they're setting themselves up to potentially make the euro the next reserve world currency. Because the thing that our mainstream media has not grasped yet, because they're corporate owned, because basically they're run by billionaires and Wall Street who are just as short-sighted as Trump and his little sycophants and idiots around him. They talk about trade war when it comes to tariffs, but they only focus on that word trade. They don't talk about the war part. You talk to any Canadian, how do you think they felt when they got tariffs slapped on them? Do you think they thought about trade or they thought about the war part? How about when he kept talking about all that mess about Canada becoming our cherished 51st state? And he referred to Prime Minister Trudeau as governor. Now, he ain't doing that with Carney recently, but you think Canadians have forgotten about that? When they've been tied with us for damn near 80 years, when they've gone in a direction where they've made themselves dependent on us, that we are basically their sole customer. And now they're faced with, hey, we got to go in another direction. Or how about Denmark with Greenland? You think they're going to forgive and forget about that? I don't think so. Or how about France with Macron basically saying to French investors, hey man, don't put your money in the American market. And if I wouldn't buy any more debt, I wouldn't do any more investments over here because we don't know what they're doing. And that was before the 90-day reversal. What do you think that says to them now? Does it say that we're a serious player, that we're a stable player, that we're a safe bet? You got to remember, these countries have already lived through Trump 1.0, and now it's Trump 2.0. They don't go by, it's just Trump being Trump. They're not doing that now. And here's the other thing, too. Yeah, we're the biggest market on earth. And sure, China has made a bunch of goods for our market. But what do you think they're going to do with those 125% tariffs? And they do a retaliatory move. Do you think they're going to flood the rest of the world with cheap Chinese goods? And that the rest of the world is going to benefit from basically them being overstocked and throwing up a middle finger to us? The schadenfreude may taste good today. It honestly may. But we're not standing on the sidelines on this one. You know, Trump may be running a race and he face planted today because he's an idiot. But we're basically on his shoulders. We're tied to the hip with this fool. And we face planted it along with him. America might be in danger of moving into junk bond status. And that's not a good thing for billionaires, for any of us. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep the faith, defend democracy. I'll see you later.